Okay, given h of x equal to parentheses 3x plus 11 to the fourth, we need to find f of x and g of x so that h of x is their composition. Remember that h of x equal to f composed with g of x means that we had f of x and we plugged g of x in. So essentially, we're trying to figure out what could be on the outside, the f, and what would be on the inside, which would be g. So if we look at our original function that they gave us, we have h of x is equal to 3x plus 11 to the fourth. So we're essentially trying to find out what was plugged into the equation. Well, if we look for just the parentheses, it looks like 3x plus 11 was plugged into the function, which means that g of x is going to be 3x plus 11. But that means if we take that out of the picture, we have something to the fourth. Okay, because g of x got plugged in. How could we have plugged in where that smiley face currently is? The only way that we could have plugged in is if it was an x. So the x on the inside with the 4 as the exponent, but notice that we don't need the parentheses. Okay, so here the parentheses can go away and we get x to the fourth. If we wanted to double check our answers, we could do the composition. F composed with g of x. We would take our x to the fourth we're going to plug in wherever we see the x, but we're plugging in 3x plus 11. So our answers are g of x is equal to 3x plus 11 and f of x is equal to x plus 4. I know that this idea is kind of confusing, so I'm going to do a bonus example right here. Let's say that h of x is equal to x plus 1 squared plus 7. And we want to find f and g because they make up h. Specifically, their composition makes up h. So again, g is being plugged into f. So we need to look what was plugged into our equation. Some of the nicer ones, you really just need to look for the parentheses. So it looks like x plus 1 was plugged in to our equation. And if that was what was plugged in, g of x is going to be x plus 1. If we take the x plus 1 out, we would be left with parentheses squared plus 7. Literally erasing the x plus 1 from inside the parentheses. But if that's where g of x was plugged in, we only plug in whenever we see an x. So it becomes x squared plus 7, which means that we found f of x. If you wanted to double check your answer, again, you could do h of x equal to f composed with g of x. which means that we take our f of x, which we said was x squared plus 7, but instead of x, we're going to plug in our g function, which means we get x plus 1 wherever we saw the x or wherever we left the blank or erased the x, and we get back to the original.